Born in Cushendall within County Antrim in 1899, James Hamilton DeLargy was the son of James DeLargy Sr. and Mary Josephine McQuillan. The young James DeLargy had began schooling in Glen Ariff as a result of his family moving there after the death of his father while James was only 2. Once DeLargy had turned 8, the family moved again, leaving the north of Ireland to move to Dublin, where James had finished his primary education in a convent school in Kilcool within County Wicklow.
After finishing his primary education, DeLargy enrolled within Castleknock College, located within the same county. During his duration at Castleknock College, he was greatly influenced by his Irish teacher, Frank Fay, who instilled within the young DeLargy a passion and love for the Irish language. He continued his studies and eventually went on to obtain his M.A. in Celtic Studies at University College Dublin. Afterwards, in 1923, James had become the assistant to Dr. Douglas Hyde, who is the current chair to the modern Irish department at the college. Hyde had an influential role within DeLargy's life. Hyde had contributed in starting the Gaelic League in conjunction with his heavy role within the language revival movement. Through the multiple experiences DeLargy was provided through the Gaelic League, he slowly began to learn that the Irish language was a vast storehouse of tradition, the leaf drift of an old Gaelic world, whose boundaries had once extended to the Hebrides and the Atlantic edge of Scotland. This realization fueled DeLargy and others of the same mindset to preserve the dying culture, which is why they set up the Folklore of Ireland Society in 1927. The Society's main function was publishing a collection of journals documenting varying forms of folklore. They also published a book entitled A Handbook of Irish Folklore, written by Sean O'Sullivan. After just 1 year of being an established society, it had obtained nearly 450 members, and the first editions of their journals were being published and edited by DeLargy himself.
Editing the journals and being a member of the Folklore of Ireland Society were not the only things that went on within the life of James DeLargy. He was also a traveler, visiting other countries such as Sweden, where he became friends with C.W. von Sydow, or Scandinavia, where studies of folklore had long been established, and even traveling extensively across Ireland to the various counties to document and learn about the varying traditions across the country. One such story of travel is described by Michael McMahon, titled as James DeLargy and the Storymen of North Clare. According to McMahon, DeLargy had come to Clare in 1929. At the time, North Clare was not a place where students of the Irish language came to learn, unlike other places such as the Blaskets or Connemara. DeLargy had described himself as being the first collector of the tradition of the Irish speakers of the county, since O'Curry and O'Donovan wrote their letters from Corfin and Enniston to the Ordnance Survey almost a century before. Within his personal diary, DeLargy wrote, I had long wished to go to Clare, to learn something about Clare Irish, and to attempt to collect the tradition which I guessed must be there, but about which I could get no information in Dublin. His initial steps within Clare led him to Doolin on August 3, 1929, at the age of 30. He had found a home with the Carey family, an Irish-speaking family who had lived in New, located between the cliffs of Moher and Newstown-Varna. Upon taking up lodging with the family, DeLargy had learned that the ordinary language spoken within the neighborhood was English, but traditional Irish was spoken by the elderly and almost nearly understood by the younger generation, just not widely spoken amongst them. This did not discourage DeLargy. Within the very house he was staying at, he had discovered that Old Man Carey was an excellent Irish speaker and a very talented storyteller. James had used an Ediphone to capture the recordings of multiple stories and tales firsthand from the mouth of Old Man Carey, as well as other tales and songs from travelers who passed by the Carey house on their travels around the country. Within his diary, James had made the following note about his stay in County Clare and the time he spent with the Carey family. I could not have got a better lodging, for to this house came all the storytellers, singers, and musicians from miles around, and there at various times from 1929 to 1935 I recorded nearly 500 tales and extensive vocabularies in Irish.
During the year of 1930, the Folklore of Ireland Society that James DeLargy was a part of received a small grant from the government, which resulted in the formation of the Irish Folklore Institute, with DeLargy at its head. Along with other donations from individuals over time, the Institute was capable of publishing 3 volumes of folklore tales. All of this had happened within the year of 1930, and further support was shown as a result of what they had accomplished. Yet another government grant was provided to the group and resulted in the formation of another folklore body, the Irish Folklore Commission. The commission was provided steady funds as a form of support to help in the aid of collecting, cataloging, and publishing what little remained of the Irish oral tradition. DeLargy was made the honorary director of the commission and directed the commission for 36 years until his death in 1980, leaving behind a legacy in what was collected within the archives over his lifetime.
DeLargy died on June 25, 1980, living a full life and leaving behind a legacy of Irish folklore tradition. An educated and often described as charming man, DeLargy had accomplished a lot within his life. He had helped in the founding of multiple societies and led a few of them until his death. In his travels, he had befriended many, such as the countless friends he had made in Sweden, which led to a motion to have him decorated by the King of Sweden, also managing to become a well-known editor of the Finnish Folklore Fellows Communication. Due to all of his work during his lifetime in support of maintaining the culture of the country, he was honored with 8 doctorates from universities both in Europe and North America. His legacy will forever live on amongst the archive of the Irish Folklore Commission, the largest and most important of its kind in Western Europe.